To this day, in all of these projects, there are many people still unaware that these giants are coming to their community. This is unacceptable. These wind companies slide in, snowball the uneducated board members, keep the notifications at a minimum to deter community opposition, get it all signed, sealed, and sell the project, and they're out of here. And our lives will never be the same.
The privilege of the floor, and you can talk about anything you want, and you're allowed 3 minutes, or if for an individual, 5 minutes for an organization. Please state your name and address, please.
I'm Angelo Graziano, Forestville, New York. I'm a councilman for the town of Villenova, Chautauqua County. When I began in 2014, there was a wind project in process. I wasn't familiar with this project or my job as a councilman. However, I knew all town residents needed to know what to expect with this project. I asked the wind company, Res America, to notify the township with mass mailers. They said they would. Well, they did not. I asked 3 separate times, and that's how all the trouble began. The project is under a SECRA. Since it's exceeded 80 kilowatts for a SECRA, I did what I could do to try to get it changed to an Article 10. Enclosed, I have a letter here that you could see that I sent to the Department of Public Service. Unfortunately, that also failed. There is nothing from outside experts on health, bird and bat kills, property values, and water well studies. There has never been any mailer sent to all the residents. It has been a shady deal from the start. The town of Hanover borders our town. They also have turbines in this project. When Hanover voted on the project, they were told there wasn't any opposition in Villenova. This is very untrue. There are many who oppose the project. In Hanover, there were 2 in favor, 2 against, and the town of Hanover supervisor voting in favor thus began the tiebreaker. Is this even a legal vote? The town of Arkwright borders Villenova. They have a separate wind farm project in this process, still under a seeker. This wind town project has brought up many questions from the residents, starting with the board and the committees beginning compensated for the wind company. There is also are also many residents opposed to the project. Again, this is lack of notification during the entire project, only the minimum required. Now we come to the Casadega Wind Project is now under an Article 10. Once again, no health experts, inaccurate bird and bat study, no expert property value study, and no studies on personal water wells, lack of notification to all residents. Don't get me wrong, please understand, the 3 projects all have the same problems. Lack of health studies, bird and bat kill, property values dropping, large visual impact. 3 neighboring projects also will have a total of 123 turbines. All these need expert evaluation. These turbines are just under 500 foot tall. This will definitely be an impact to all those that live here. Mr. Dan Spitzer is a lawyer who represents all the towns, also paid for by the wind companies, and very pro-wind. This seems to be a conflict of interest. The judges that represent the Public Service Department for Casadega Wind seem to be very fair at the last public hearing. All the people were heard. This is why many people started to speak out. The Villenova public hearing was a circus run by Dan Spitzer, letting finger pointing and bullying go on for all the people that oppose the projects. We need advocates who are clearly on our side, such as would be furnished under Article 10. Advocates qualified to assess the validity of the reports and documents, both pro and con, on this project. That's why Article 10 was created. The communities of Villenova, Hanover, Arkwright, and all the townships in Casadega Wind Project are getting hammered. We are not opposed to wind energy. We do not concede the moral high ground of clean energy to the developer. We share it. However, nowhere is it written or legislated that turbines must be placed in residential communities. That's the sticking point, and that's what needs to be addressed. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tina Graziano. I live in Forestville, New York, town of Villenova, I'm sorry. To this day, in all of these projects, there are many people still unaware that these giants are coming to their community. This is unacceptable. These wind companies slide in, snowball the uneducated board members, keep the notifications at a minimum to deter community opposition, get it all signed, sealed, and sell the project, and they're out of here. And our lives will never be the same. Community is now split. We do not have or able to pay for legal representation or guidance. We do not have residents that are rich and able to pay for lawyers to defend our rights. The communities of Villenova, Hanover, Arkwright, and the townships in the Cassadaga Wind Project are getting hammered. We need help. We're up against big money wind. And why is it that a landowner that signs their land rights away to a wind company has all the power and political backing? The residents' health and well-being were traded for the promise of easy cash delivered by a traveling salesman. The neighbor whose life was never considered during the signing will now have to suffer with 123 500-foot turbines, skyscraper size, next to their backyard, front yard, and to the sides. The intrusion, the numerous health impacts, shadow flicker, noise, sleep deprivation, and the abomination that will never stop or leave. Our homes, our biggest assets and sanctuaries, and it should always stay that way. Why do they have the right to force people from their homes? We can be forced to live next to dangerous industrial turbines and given no recourse? Why is it that we have to fight for the right to remain safe in our homes? Who has the money for lawyers to defend our God-given and American right to live in peace and wellness? Absolutely zero consideration or rights have been given to residents without lease agreements. How is this legal? Our homes will be worthless. We will be forced to leave everything we worked our entire life for. We have spent our whole lives here, raised our children here in this pristine area. And now they come in and destroy our lives. Who speaks for us? Who fights for us? We pay our taxes, our mortgages, and maintain our homes. We don't have the money to fund lawyers to save us. We need immediate help. The wind companies are running over us. We deserve the right to be represented. We need to end this PTC giveaway. It's destroying our lives, and we are just devastated. Our lives and life's plans have been turned upside down. Do you think the residents, the legislators, and other politicians in the 70s anticipated the devastation that would happen in Love Canal? This is why these 490-foot wind turbines must not be put here. They have documented serious health hazards belonging only to them. Thank you very much.
My name is Fred Keller. I'm a citizen of Arkwright, and I'm speaking just for myself. Now, in November, the Army Corps sent out a public notice to some of Arkwright residents. When I discovered that a near neighbor did not get a notice, I wondered why, and this struck me as peculiar. I started talking to other neighbors and discovered that only those people whose property was contingent to proposed turbine properties got the mailing. Why so? It just so happened that a neighbor who would be closer to several turbines than we are did not get a notice. Now that doesn't sound fair. Right? Now it gets interesting. On page 4 of the notice, okay, it had about 10 pages to the notice. Here's a statement. A lack of response will be interpreted as meaning that there is no objection to the work as proposed. This is weird. Right? So by eliminating a large portion of us, they can lump these uninformed people into the approval category. The supposed unbiased Army Corps looks like collaborators, don't they? Right? This got my dander up. So I wrote 350 letters to my fellow citizens, warning them that this shenanigans was afoot. 50 responded. Many thanked me for the warning. In November, the Dunkirk-Fredonia Observer printed a front-page article lauding the coming wind farm bonanza. In this article, our superintendent bragged that he had overwhelming support for his pet project, which he likes to call the cathedrals of the 21st century. My attempt to submit a counter article was to the Observer was dismissed as irrelevant. I'm not going to mention the various objections, but I have a disc from the St. Clairville meeting, which has about 30 people expressing their opinion. About 5 were in favor, and the rest had very, very good explanations of their objections. So I asked, first of all, is to get informed, all right, and then to rethink the backing of this group. Good wind works, ignorant wind destroys. As my daddy used to say, you can put a tuxedo on a skunk, it still stinks. That's it. This is available, these discs, if anyone wants them.
Thank you.